You hear that? I hear God calling your name. He's saying you're about to come into a prepared blessing. Doors opening you never dreamed would open. The right person showing up. Healing, restoration. Don't get discouraged because your net was empty. You didn't catch what you hoped to catch. You didn't get that promotion. The medical report hasn't changed. Like Rachel, you haven't conceived yet. Can I tell you, something's cooking. The scripture says God remembered Rachel. God has not forgotten you. He has seen every unfair situation, every lonely night, every heartache. That is not how your story ends. There are prepared blessings that you're going to walk into. Now, in the meantime, let Him cook.
Every little voice in you that says that God doesn't understand, just got to whoop it. All that stuff you're doing, trying to explain to God your situation as if you needed to educate Him, is a waste of spit and wind. God knows exactly where you are. I want to take a minute and talk to somebody who's been tied up. God has not forgotten you. I don't care how many people go ahead of you. When it's your time, it's your time. He knows exactly where you are. He knows exactly what you got tied up. That when God gets ready to loose you, no devil in hell can hold you back.
It all happens at an appointed time, but you have to stay in faith for the appointed time to happen for you.
And one reason we get in a hurry is we think we're falling behind. Other people are in the game, making progress. You're stuck waiting. We got to make things happen. We're being left out. What has your name on it will not go to anyone else. Don't get discouraged because it's not happening as fast as you would like. When He knows you're ready, what you give birth to is going to be much bigger than you've imagined. You're not falling behind. God has you right where He wants you.
I want the folks that's tied up to praise the Lord. The rope isn't holding me. My divine purpose is. And when it's time for me, hell can't make a rope that can hold me back. When God gets ready to loose me, I ain't worried about you putting your foot on me, because He'll break your foot if He wants me up. You ain't strong enough to hold me down. But when they all try to rock you, God will still be with you. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying? That God will stand up for you when men sit down on you. Look at your neighbor and tell them God is thinking about you.
We're interested in the destination, but God is interested in the journey. When we understand that waiting doesn't mean nothing has happened, then we can stay in faith, knowing that at the right time, God will get us to where we're supposed to be. If what you're praying about isn't changing, then God is using that situation to change you. You don't grow when everything is easy. That doesn't happen on a weekend. It takes time. You may not like it, but you can't bypass the process. Without the process, you wouldn't be prepared. Every struggle, every delay, that's depositing something in you. God knows what's in your future. He knows what it's going to take to keep you there. What God has in front of you is more fulfilling than anything you've seen in the past. There are times the good has to come to an end to make room for the best. It's all a part of God's plan.
And I think more times than not in life, people treat God like a Santa Claus. And then when they don't get the gifts, it's a problem.
You can't see what God is up to, but later on, you're going to understand. You may not see how that works out for your good until years down the road.
And I think true courage is the ability to embrace what we don't understand. Even though I don't like it, I can still trust God even though I can't trace God.
We may not like the process. Thoughts will tell you it's never going to get better. That disappointment didn't stop what God has for you. That setback is not stopping you, it's setting you up for new levels.
See, the route you on right now is the route you got to take.
God is in the process of connecting the dots in your life. Everything is serving His plan. You have to trust Him when you don't understand.
I'm going to dig my way out of it. There are no quick fixes to complicated problems. So when you say, what if your digging isn't working? That's what the enemy says to you when God is working on your life. How do you trust God in the midst of your digging? You got nobody else to trust. Not your mother, not your father, not your sister, not your brother. I don't care what you're into. You got nobody you can trust like you can trust God. But just because He doesn't work with your time schedule doesn't mean that He's not working in your behalf.
The fact that things are running out doesn't mean God has forgotten about you. When you see the new door God opens, you'll say, Lord, thank you. You saved the best for now. The best is not behind you. The best is next.
It doesn't have to feel like it's working to be working. It doesn't happen on your schedule, but that doesn't mean it's not working. Somebody watching me right now, you don't even see daylight. You don't see no sign that help is on the way. The Lord said, I'm going to send you the water. You're not going to see it coming. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready for God to rock my world and blow my mind. And I'm making room for it. My constant prayer is increase my capacity. Capacity for pressure, capacity for stress, capacity for anxiety. But if God thought enough of me to send me, whom the Lord calls, He qualifies. And I came to tell every person in this room, you can do this. I know you're sweating, but you can do this. Or God wouldn't have put you in the situation if you can't do this.
You'll get knocked down, but you won't be knocked out. You have the power to make that decision.
You can do this. Don't give up on your dream. Don't give up on your hope. Don't give up on your promise. Don't give up on what God called you can do. You can do this. It may stretch you, it may expand you, it may enlarge you, but you can do this. I rebuke every devil that's been telling you that you don't have what it takes. You can do this. I never did it before. Yeah, but you can do this. I didn't study this in school. Yeah, I get that. I don't have a degree in that. I get that. But you can do this. Whom He calls, He qualifies. You can do this. And if you don't know what you're doing, get somebody who does and partner with them. And I'm wondering, are you making the right connections for what's next in your life? What are you willing to slay? What are you willing to change in order to get there? What you say, that's just how I am. But in order to get what God wants to get done, you got to get rid of that's just how I am and start saying, make me what you want me to be, increase my capacity. I'm ready to go to the next level. Any way you bless me, Lord, I'll be satisfied. I'm going to change the world before I get out here. And little by little start putting together the strategy that it takes when no is not an option. Say it with me, no is not an option.
I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences.
I learned that the race is not given to the swift, but to him that endureth to the end. I learned that speed for a moment doesn't really mean progress. I learned that when you get in a curve, you got to slow down.
Life happens. If you wait for all your circumstances to calm down, then you're going to have peace. You'll be waiting your whole life. God never promised that He would keep us from difficulties, but He did say He would give us peace in the midst of the storms. That means despite what's going on around you, you still have peace. I didn't get the promotion that I worked for, but I'm not upset. I know God has something better coming my way. You weren't created to live worried. This is the reason many people have health issues. It's because their mind is never at rest. Your mind needs a break. It wasn't meant to go all the time. You have to learn to turn it over to God. You weren't designed to carry that heavy load. If you try to be God, God will step back and say, okay, you figure it out. But when you come back to a place of peace and say, God, I trust you. You have this all figured out, so I'm going to be still and know that you are God. It can be chaotic all around you, traffic, problems, drama, but on the inside, there's a rest. Friends, worry is a thief. It will rob you of your joy. You don't make good decisions when you're worried. We can't add 1 inch to our life by worrying. What's keeping you awake at night? It's time to come back to the still waters. Do yourself a favor. Take the worry off the throne. Take the financial difficulty off the throne and put God back up on the throne. To thank God that He's still in control. Let the worry be a reminder to switch over into praise. You have to guard your mind. What if I don't get well? What if I can't make those payments? Don't fall into that trap. If you live worried, uptight, you're inviting discouragement. You have to turn your worry into worship. It's easy to wake up in the middle of the night. Somebody asked me, if I could do anything over again, what would I do differently? I told them I would trust God more. I wonder how many things you're worried about that are never going to come to pass. What if I never get married? What if you do? How much time are you wasting worrying? Jesus put it this way, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will have enough worries of its own. Don't try to figure out the next 5 years, play out all the what ifs. The truth is, if a what if does come to pass, God will give you the grace to handle it. We may not know what the future holds, but we do know who holds the future. Today is a gift. Many of the things you're worried about are not going to happen. And sure, we should plan, we should use common sense, but at some point, you have to turn it over to God. It's very freeing when you learn to turn things over to God. Really, it's important every morning. You should start the day off in peace. Look at the sunrise. Breathe in God's goodness. Thank Him for His blessings in your life. This is one of the main ways we show God we're trusting Him, by staying in peace. You're stable, you're consistent, you're in the rest of God.
That is a journey, my friend. That is a process. You will still have different things in your life you got to work through. And then when you get in success, it's going to feel weird. But when you get in success, sit in it anyway. Eventually, you're going to begin to wear it. And it's going to become you. It starts out foreign. It works its way to familiar. You're going to win if you don't quit. You're going to get comfortable if you don't quit. It takes a while to own it. And part of the biggest problem is the fear that it won't last. And that's not just money. That's love. That's relationships. We live with the fear that it won't last. It's mine. I really earned it. That's why it's important that it not be given to you. Because if I give it to you, I can take it from you.
You can never lose faith. When you don't see no way how, you have to buckle down and keep believing. God is always coming. The moment you ask God for something, He boxes it up and He ships it to you. It's going to come. He just don't tell you when. If God told you you were going to be rich in August of 2021, do you know how crazy you would talk to people? But He don't tell you when the package is going to arrive. So here's the deal. He wants you to stay in faith to receive the package, because He only delivers to Faith Street. If you step off over here to I Don't See How Boulevard, He does not ship there. He only sends the boxes to Faith Street. That's how it works, man. Let me tell y'all something. Being successful is not a magic trick. You just have to learn the principles of success. I am telling you, your education ain't got nothing to do with it. Now, when you gonna ask Him for it, and are you gonna wait for it to happen? Or are you gonna lose faith? Well, I guess it wasn't the Lord's will. How you know what God's will is? It all happens at an appointed time, but you have to stay in faith for the appointed time to happen for you. You know how old I was before I got on TV? 38. It took me 28 years to get on TV. But it happened at an appointed time. I just never gave up the faith. Because I know if I quit, it cannot happen. If you stay with it, you have no idea what can happen for you. What you tripping for? You can't quit, man. Somebody having it way harder than you, and they didn't give up. You're tripping, man. Get yourself together. God got a great life for you. God got a plan for you that's so out of sight. All you got to do is ask him for it and wait on it and be willing to work. Faith without works is dead. That's all you got to do. You don't need no education. How God give me this and he won't give it to you? Made mistakes? But God don't ask you for your perfection. He asks you for your consistency.
Don't allow a moment of agony to make you draw a conclusion about life prematurely. Because if you just keep on walking with God, God has a way of making everything all right. But he warns us that the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Now, the term steps implies process. It means it's going to take a while. Because a blessing given too soon is not a blessing at all. I can give my son the car keys now, but had I given it to him when he was 5, it would not have been a blessing at all. He can't handle it. So would I be a good father if I gave him a good thing too soon? Sometimes my goodness is proven by my ability to say not yet. Nobody wants steps. They're not attractive. The only reason we have steps is to get us to a higher level. If there were a way to get upstairs without going upstairs, we would take it. But if you don't have the $60,000, $70,000 it takes to put an elevator in your house, then guess what? You go up the steps. I take them one at a time now. I used to take 2 and 3 at a time. I ran up the steps. I ignored the steps. They were no problem when I was younger. Went up the steps fast. I ran up them until I tripped on them. Excuse me, step aside, move to the right. I gotta go. I run up the steps until I fell on the steps. And I learned respect for the process. Go through the process. I prayed to abort the process. I prayed to speed it up. I prayed that I wouldn't have to endure some things that he wanted me to endure. I was working on the destination, but he was working on me. I'm not preparing the blessing for you. I'm preparing you for the blessing. The blessing is already prepared. That the work doesn't have to be applied to where you're going. The work has to be applied to you so that when you get where you're going, you can handle what you gotta handle. The steps, the steps, the steps.
We all have things that we're waiting for. Problem to turn around. When it's taking longer than we thought, it's easy to get discouraged, to become impatient. But sometimes it's not happening because we're not prepared for what God has prepared. You need more time to grow, to develop, to gain experience. Patience is developed in the wait room. Before you see what God promised, God will send you to the wait room. You may not like it. Other people are in the game, making progress. You're stuck waiting. You may not see anything changing, but something is happening. Patience is working. You're growing. developing, getting you prepared so you can sustain what God has coming. Don't get discouraged because it's not happening as fast as you would like. When He knows you're ready, what you give birth to is going to be much bigger than you've imagined. Maybe you've been praying, being your best, but you don't see anything changing. Have a new perspective. You're in the weight room. You're not falling behind. God has you right where He wants you. Now do your part and wait with a good attitude. Thank you that what you promised is on the way. If you will wait with the right attitude, after patience has done its work, you're going to see promises come to pass. We're interested in the destination, but God is interested in the journey. When we understand that waiting doesn't mean nothing is happening, it's all a part of the process, then we can stay in faith knowing that at the right time, God will get us to where we're supposed to be. While you wait, be your best where you are. God is watching to see if you're ready. If what you're praying about isn't changing, then God is using that situation to change you. All things are working for your good. In that weight room, I learned to stand strong even when it seemed impossible. If it's not changing, don't worry, you're changing. You're getting stronger, more determined. It's preparing you. You don't grow when everything is easy. You can't get that overnight. That doesn't happen on a weekend. It takes time. And I'll admit, I don't like to wait. I like to make progress. I like to get things done. But I've learned some things take time. So much is developed in the process. When you're doing the right thing, but nothing's changing, remember, something is happening. You're growing. You may not like it, but you can't bypass the process. David said, God, my times are in your hands. I not only trust your ways, but I trust your timing. When I'm ready, when I can handle it, you will take me to new levels of my destiny. Something may have your name on it. You know God has put it in your heart. But if it happens too soon, the blessing will become a burden. Sometimes God proves His love to us by what He's not letting us have. We just have to spend more time in the weight room, growing, learning to trust God, learning to keep a good attitude when things aren't going our way. The sooner we pass these tests, the sooner God will release what belongs to us. I used to pray, God, give me everything in a hurry. Now I've learned to pray, God, don't give me anything too soon. Don't open a door that I don't have the grace to be there. And one reason we get in a hurry is we think we're falling behind. Our coworker got promoted. The neighbors moved into a new house. We got to make things happen. We're being left out. What has your name on it will not go to anyone else.
If the truth be told, we were being totally honest. Most of us don't like waiting. Particularly if we're waiting for something to change or something to get better. Waiting can be a very frustrating experience. The worst kind of waiting of all is waiting on God. When God forces you to wait for things to get better in your life, for things to improve, to change, to reverse, and nothing is happening. And yet, over and over again in the Bible, we're told to wait on the Lord.
The most difficult place for you to be in life is in God's waiting room. In God's waiting room. Some of you are in God's waiting room right now. What is God's waiting room? when you're in a hurry for something to happen and God isn't. That's God's waiting room. Some of you are in a hurry to graduate. Some of you are in a hurry to get married. Some of you are in a hurry to start a family. Some of you are in a hurry to launch a new business, to close a big deal. Some of you are in a hurry for a big goal, a big dream, a big accomplishment. Some of you are in a hurry for all kinds of different things, and God isn't.
And one reason we get in a hurry is we think we're falling behind. Our friend is getting married. Our coworker got promoted. The neighbors moved into a new house. We got to make things happen. We're being left out. Well, here's the key. What has your name on it will not go to anyone else.
We don't like to trust somebody else's timing. Why? Because we lose control. And so we, rather than trust God, because trusting God means, my goodness, I actually have to trust God, we'd rather go, listen, I like the plan and purpose you have for my life, but can we do it my way? And here's the funny thing. Now that I'm a parent, I recognize in my children that they don't like it to wait on my timing. They don't like to wait. They don't like to chill and be patient. But the thing is, if they would just trust my timing, they would recognize it's for their good. It's for them to be blessed and prosperous. And so you can live life frustrated, anxious, stressed out, angry, or you can rest and go, God, I have to trust in your timing.
Another thing you have to learn in life is that a delay is not a denial. There's a big difference between no and not yet. Now, immature children don't know the difference. You tell a kid, not yet, they start crying and having a hissy fit because they think it means no. They don't understand a delay is not a denial.
We all have things that we're waiting for. Problem to turn around. When it's taking longer than we thought, it's easy to get discouraged, to become impatient. But sometimes it's not happening because we're not prepared for what God has prepared. You need more time to grow, to develop, to gain experience. Patience is developed in the wait room. Before you see what God promised, God will send you to the wait room. You may not like it. Other people are in the game, making progress. You're stuck waiting. You may not see anything changing, but something is happening. Patience is working. You're growing, developing, getting you prepared so you can sustain what God has coming. Don't get discouraged because it's not happening as fast as you would like. When He knows you're ready, what you give birth to is going to be much bigger than you've imagined. Maybe you've been praying, being your best, but you don't see anything changing. Have a new perspective. You're in the wait room. You're not falling behind. God has you right where He wants you. Now do your part and wait with a good attitude. Thank you.
Hey everyone, Dailykeymotivation today speak. God has not forgotten you. He has seen every unfair situation, every lonely night, every hard day. That is not how your story ends. They are prepared blessing that you are going to work into now. In the meantime, let Him cook every little voice in you that say that God doesn't understand. Just got a pair all that stop you are doing trying to explain to God your situation as if you need to educate him in is a waste of speed and wind. God now knows exactly where you are. I want to take a minute and take to somebody who's be tried up. God has not forgotten you. I don't care how many people go off you win. It's your time. It's your time. He knows exactly when you are. He knows exactly what you got right off and got get ready to lose. You know the beat in hill. I can hold you back.